Hi, and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
Funny thing is, Eve's dog was there looking at me while I said hi. And when we say goodbye, she'll come running back. Anyway.
Oh, good, they're done.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday. I hope your favorite team wins. I, personally, want the Eagles to win, but I don't care that much.
And it's almost Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah. Look, you guys are wearing red. I'm all sad and gray.
We have red chili.
And here's the dog. I can't see her.
Here.
There she is. Okay, hi.
You're coaxing away, but you're wearing red.
Oh, yeah.
Ta-da!
Oh, yeah, it is almost Valentine's Day. But look what I brought for Super Bowl Sunday. Football cookies. They're weird because they're brown.
I'm not showing the one that I already bit.
It's brown sugar, but... So they're a little weird. But they're cute, and they actually taste pretty good for cheap buttered dollar store butter cookies. I'll eat mine in a minute, but I guess I'm going first. So I am going gangbusters on my little knit-along hat, Arne and Carlos. I did switch the colors.
Your mouse hat?
Well, so as you can see, this is pretty small. And I thought the needle sizes were small, but I was like, well, it's bigger yarn. But I looked at my gauge the other night, and it's way too small.
You right?
No, I dropped my phone.
Oh, I was about where the white comes in when I really realized that the gauge was too small and the hat was going to be too small, and I debated and debated and debated. I sat there going, do I take it out? Do I just keep it? What do I do? And I decided, you know what? I've done so much. I don't want to redo it. So I'm making this for whatever favored child I find to give it to. Which is what I did with my last colorwork hat, if any of you remember. I made that nice, I made a nice hat with cactuses on it. Actually, it was before we started the channel, but it came out too small because I didn't check my gauge, and that was a lesson I thought I learned in 2020. She's sorry that she barked. Are you sorry? I thought I thought I'd learned a lesson in 2020, but I didn't. It's so hard to check gauge in a hat. And really, this is not so much knitting that I couldn't take it out and redo it. But I don't know. I'm just doing this for the experience of working with the wool and doing some real color work. And so I decided I'm not going to rip it out because that would make me sad to have to start over. So here it is. I'm going to show you a close-up. I'm working very hard to keep the colors even and to keep the floats a good length so that it doesn't bunch up. Those of you who know color work will understand the floats. So as you use, like if you use white, like there's a spot here where there's several white stitches in a row and there's red on either side, and so that red yarn has to float behind the stitches and then come back here. If that float is too tight, you get a pucker, and if it's too loose, the stitches might grow, they'll be too big. So, and then I'm going to show the inside. It's like it's lines of the yarn. I'll show a close-up of this as well. I think I'm doing
Is that the equivalent of
showing the back
showing your backside?
Yeah, see? Excuse me. I think I'm doing a good job. I am... so, Arne and Carlos kind of assume, I think, many things because they are Norwegian and this is the way they always knit. But there's a lady named Roxanne Richardson. She has a... excuse me. She has a YouTube channel, and she's very scientific about knitting. She will basically say, these are the ways to do color work, and this is what happens when you do them these different ways. And you can make one color dominant or a background color depending on how you hold those floats. And I remember Arne and Carlos saying there's no dominant color in their color work, in Norwegian color work. It's all the same. And the reason it's all the same, Roxanne explains it, is that I believe they twist their yarn every time they change color. Meaning, and so you can either have the floats parallel, so the red and the yellow. The yellow's always on top, red's always on the bottom. And then you just stitch with whatever one. And I can't remember, Roxanne has a whole thing about it, Roxanne Richardson, about which produces the dominant color. So actually your stitches are a little bit bigger if you do it this way. But what Arne and Carlos do, and what creates even like no background or no foreground colors, is if as you approach the new stitch, say this was on the bottom, you pull it on top and knit it there, and then the next time you knit it, so you're constantly crossing those as you change colors. And she explained that your floats in the back have a diagonal look to them, and that produces an even excuse me, an even, I don't know what's wrong with me, an even color dominance.
Too many football cookies.
Something, excuse me. So, if you remember those Santas that I made, for the contest, I kept the parallels I kept the floats parallel, and I remember thinking that the colors were not equally, like it looked like a foreground and background, and I cannot remember on those Santas which I did, if I kept the background color on top or not. I wasn't as knowledgeable, because I've only done a little bit of color work, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do this hat so badly, and one of the reasons I don't want to rip it out. So I think it looks pretty good, and once I wash it and block it, it will even out even more. And this is nice 100% wool, so it's gonna kind of not felt completely, but it'll just kind of felt into its own little fabric, which is nice. So some child's gonna get a beautiful hat, and it's not gonna be me. I don't think it'll fit me. I keep trying to try on the cuff on my head, but anyway, so that's this. I've been working on this a lot this week. The other thing I've been doing is, of course, working on Jordan's sweater. It's just like I rode the bus a couple times, and so it's growing. It's real pretty. It's growing little by little. Yeah, me too. It's really nice. But what I want to work on today, I've decided, because I just haven't, is I'm going to work on my gray sweater, my office sweater as I call it, because I bought a sweater for my office, which is always freezing, and it's very thin, and the sleeves are very tight, which is it's a beautiful sweater, but is not really what I wanted for the office. I want this, I love this sweater. I can wear it over almost anything. Any sleeve type fits in it. This is from a company called Uniqlo, I think, Uniqlo. It's believe a Japanese, no, I don't know what its origin is, but it's a clothing company out in Boston. And I bought this because I was freezing in Boston one day, and it has a very strange cut to it. I really like it. It's kind of like rounded. I can't describe it. And that you can see that it has large sleeves, large armholes. The raglan here is very pronounced, and I really like this sweater. So this is the kind of sweater I want at work, but I don't want to take this one to work because this is my favorite sweater. And so I want something similar, and I'm searching for it. And then I realized, well, I'm making it, because this will be maybe even too sloppy for the office, but it'll be warm, like wearing a blankie. So this is I don't know if you remember, I made the pockets already, and this is the back. So I'm going to be working on this today. Oh, and the other thing that I did, remember last week I mentioned my neighbor who was recently diagnosed with cancer. And I went immediately after recording last week to Joann's and picked out some fleece. And and then I didn't do anything with it. So I'm a bad person. But I'm going to this week, or this weekend actually. But I wanted to show the fabric I chose. So this is what I consider the back. It's like a nighttime fabric. It's got moon phases. So I thought that'll be a nighttime vibe. Excuse the plastic. And then this one will be the daytime vibe. And the reason I chose them is that the greenery on this, maybe see it better here, is not really green. It's like a bluish green. And so I kind of thought that it lent itself to this, which is also kind of bluey green color. So those are the two sides of the blanket. I'm just going to cut them the same size and then cut inch strips about 2 inches in and an inch wide, or maybe it's 3 inches in, I can't remember. And then you just knot them, and it creates a double-sided fleece blanket. So I need to do that this weekend, today or tomorrow, and get it over there. I just, it was, I had a show last weekend in the evening, and didn't feel well Sunday, and I've been having a lot of back pain. And so I haven't been as active as I wanted. And then I would just sit and knit. So that's why I got so far in the hat and not so far in the blanket. But other than that, that's me. I'm pretty simple. I only have a few projects running. And none of them are on my WIP-GO. except for Jordan's sweater, but
okay.
Oh, wait, there's more.
But
I forgot. I did have some haul, although it's electronic haul. I bought some patterns. Arne and Carlos were having a sale. It was like a 60% off sale. And so I got a bunch of their patterns, and I'm going to have to find them. I will find them and show them in stories because I got to look for them.
Okay.
But they're beautiful. I got a hat, a colorwork hat. So I'm going to do a colorwork hat that fits me. And then I got a mitten pattern because I think I hope it's for worsted wool, but if not, I'm just going to do it. So I'm going to make those mittens that I said I would make for Mary Lou. It's 4 colors, colorwork mittens. So I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I got, I think, 1 sock pattern. Oh, and a sweater pattern. So I'll find these while you guys are talking. But yeah. So that's
You're not going to hang on my every word?
No. I'm going to ignore you while you talk. Because I figure you're ignoring me while I talk. So I figure that's pretty fair. But yeah, so that's it.
Okay.
I'm just looking for my...
Okay. So I will go next.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
Oh.
My brain is... I finished the coaster for my new for my new boss. And so here's a photo of both sides of it. And I gave it to him, and it was on the side of his desk, and then yesterday it wasn't on his desk at all. So I consider him no longer knit-worthy. That's okay. It was unsolicited. It was just like, here, I made you this. And he was like, oh, thanks. So it's okay. It's fine. I'm not hurt. Well, I wasn't a little hurt, but...
well, maybe he took it home.
Maybe he took it home.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is for your desk. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I'm a little knit hurt about it. But anyway, so that was my other update. Sorry. Okay, I'm done now. Oh, wait, no, I'm just kidding. Wait.
So I don't know. I don't think I had gotten to the point where I am now with this. I don't remember. But this is, and Heaven and Nature Sing. This was... it's one of my WIP-GO calls. And so I was working last week on this lighter color on the deer, and I finished everywhere that it is on the deer. And the only other place this color shows up is on the, there's a big sign down here with the year 1827, I think. And I don't know what the significance of that date is. I don't know if other people mentioned it when this pattern first came out. This is by Kathy Barrick, and I'll have a picture of it, or in here later. But anyway, so I did all the tan work on the underside of his tail, and the underside of his body, and along his legs and everything. So that was what I concentrated on last time. And so I've only done 2 days on this, so I have 4 more days. And actually, I think later today, I'm going to work on it some more. And then, can you put this over there on the side somewhere? Just because I'm going to get back to it in a second, but I want to.
Nobody can see my mess over here.
Yeah.
I have a big mess.
So this was my new start. This is my killing 3 birds with 1 stone. WIP-GO, I have a new start on each block, and then cross stitch camp. We were supposed to stitch something that's part of a series, and I love to stitch just 30 minutes of stitching every day. So this qualifies for all of those things. So this is the Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings, and it's pardon the wrinkles. But so I did the border all the way down here to where it turns the corner, and I did all the white of the foxes. You really can't see it on camera, so there'll be pictures. But all the white on the fox's breast, I guess, and right now I've been working on this cabin, and I've done all these 2 trees over here, and so there's one more light green tree here, but so anyway, that's this is since the first 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 2 days on this, and then 2 days on Heaven and Nature, 2 days on this, 2 days on my other WIP-GO, and then 2 days on this. So that's why I'm telling myself I'm supposed to work on and Heaven and Nature sing again. So anyway, I've been working on the Fox, and I don't know. I'm a little overly optimistic about being able to finish it this month, but we'll see. And I realized when I was gonna work on this on the fox's breast. There's another color that goes in here, and I realized that I didn't pull that color. I don't know if I didn't find it initially when I was first putting together colors, or if I have it tucked in my a big bag of all the DMC that's called for the whole series, and it might be in there still. But if not, I know it's somewhere. And if not, I'll just go, buy another can somewhere. Anyway, then I did 2 days on Monster Wonder Whale. Sorry, there's a big bunny ear in the way here. So when last I worked on this, I had done the beginning of this little, I don't know, what do you call it? Tree motif kind of thing. So I did this, I finished it, and I did this red here, and here, the red part here, and I did, I think, down here, I finished this gold color here, and I did all the red stuff on here and here. And I did this, the sail on this ship is finished. I just have the rest of the boat there. And I did 2 little pennants. Oh, you can't see it. 2 little pennants down here that are part of these other boats that are here. Because I just had a scrap of thread. There's a dog back there. So anyway, so I did 2 days on this. So I have 4 more days this month to work on this. And then my other new start. I had decided to do Stitching with the Housewives Cataween Cow, because I just had that pattern, and I don't have a lot of Halloween stuff, And so with the same fabric that I used for the other two Halloween patterns there, I had decided to do Cataween Cow. And so today I just started on that. So I just have the little bitty pumpkin on his t-shirt, and not the stem yet because it's, and then I'm working on his shirt right now. So I just have a little bitty start on Cataween Cow. Mm-hmm. And then so I had these two out because they both have, orange in them for the pumpkins. And I was at Walmart yesterday and the other day, and I bought a couple of, I have some orange fabric in my, backing fabrics, but I bought a couple of things because they were cheap at Walmart. And so I'm giving myself some options to go with, the orange. And now that I look at it, this orange is very dark compared to these oranges on the fabrics.
That doesn't mean
this one isn't quite as dark, but so I like I said, I'm gonna look at those and decide which ones I like best, and then I think they use basically the same color palette as Cataween Cow, so I would like to find something that I can put with all three of them, and I still haven't decided whether I'm going to do them as flat finishes. I kind of don't necessarily want to do pillow finishes, and we don't do anything like a Halloween, ornament tree, so I don't want to finish them as ornaments. So I need to look at my finishing supplies to see what I might have already chosen for them or whatever, So there's that, and then I want to pause for just a second because I want to get my
considerable
haul stuff. So I have a lot of stuff in front of my vase here. I have these little carrots. They're little fabric carrots. They're squishy. Little fabric carrots that I saw at Target. I was at a dollar spot at Target, and so the $5 spot at Target. So there were a couple of, like, they have all their Easter stuff out now, hence the bunny ears. But so I was looking, and they have like these little, I guess so you could make like a little decorative montage kind of thing. They have like a little wooden thing that says, it's a little truck with carrots in the back, and then a little block that says carrots, and then a little bag, I guess it's wooden or plastic or whatever, I don't know, but it looks like a little bag of carrots, and the carrots have little fronds on top, but because they were wrapped in plastic, all three of them together, the little carrot fronds were kind of bent down like that, and I thought, really, am I going to make an Easter montage? I don't think so. And then the other thing, but I was very tempted because it was so cute. And the other thing that they had that was cute was there was a little wooden bunny, and a little set of like 3 wooden carrots, and then another sign. So maybe that was the one that said carrots, and the other one said something about a farm. I don't know. But anyway, they were really, really cute, and I was very tempted to get them. But I thought, well, I don't. So anyway, but then I saw these carrots at the last minute, and I thought, well, I just can't. I couldn't pass them up. They're very cute, and they're very, and I have a bunch
of
like
cat toys to me.
I have a bunch of bunny patterns, and so I think these might work with some of those. And speaking of bunnies, I have these little. No, they're not chocolate bunnies.
I thought they were chocolate bunnies when I walked in. I was like, "Are those chocolate?"
But they're just little. They're just little. Golden. I don't know if it's wood or whatever. Yeah, I think they're wooden. or whatever, but they're painted gold. And they had all kinds of bunny things, like this, this bunny that's standing up, looking up, whatever. They had one that was really cute. That was it said cement bunnies, but they're made out of something else, plastic of some kind. But they were great, and they were basically like this. One sitting, they had some sitting and some standing up, but the ones that were standing up had their ears down on the back of their neck, like they were looking up like this, and they were really, really, really cute, just adorable. But I restrained myself, but I did not restrain myself with buying these eggs.
Those kind of look like the eggs I get from the farm.
Yeah,
they're colored like all different colors.
Yeah, so they're. I think these are like plaster Paris, whatever. No, it says wooden
Come here,
eggs.
Rogue.
It says
Come
wooden
here.
eggs.
No barking.
But anyway, so yeah, they had some that were all white, and then they had these multicolored ones. But they also had this little tiered tray with the bunny ears. So I went ahead and got this because I thought this is really good for you could put my bunny montages on them. So then the other thing I got was a bunny like the one here in front that looks like this. And I thought that would be nice to put like some kind if I have a small enough bunny pattern on here. And then the other thing I got was this big wooden egg. So all of these things were in the dollar spot at Target. And I went with Eve because she was looking for some shoes.
She didn't need anything.
I didn't need anything.
Card I wanted to use.
So I was there in the dollar spot going crazy.
So, yeah, she didn't need anything, but she managed to find stuff.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I think that is me. That's all.
Better be, for heaven's sake.
So, I have accomplished very little this week. I was just telling Beth that when I read, the words are swimming in front of me. Like, not exactly double, but close to that. And so I'm finding a lot of, I enjoy cross stitch, but I'm finding it tedious because I'm like, wait a minute. And I've tried using light and stuff like that, and I keep dropping things. I don't know. Rabbits, carrots, and eggs, and we're going to put a little picture here of it. This is how far I've gotten on that. Now, I've changed some of the colors. These eggs are supposed to be white, and I'm going to do another one yellow. And I think this green, I'm not completely sold on it. I don't know how it's going to look against this fabric. I wanted a green one, and Beth suggested purple, so I can find a purple, and I have one more egg to do, because there's 2 here and 2 down here somewhere. And
I
then
like the way those look.
it's making me really happy. It's like a happy, I don't know, feel to it.
Is there a pattern? Is that white pattern on the pattern, or are you making that up?
That's white. It's on the pattern.
Oh, I see.
It's on the pattern is white, yeah.
You're just putting a background in it?
Um,
Oh, I see.
they look like that.
And it's supposed to be just...
And it's supposed to be all white.
I see.
And I went, no.
So you did that pattern and then filled it in with or did you go around it as well, or fill it in with color?
She went around it, and then there's just the little...
I did the outside and then the inner part that is not that pattern in the color, and then I used white on the color.
I see.
I mean, where that pattern was. And honestly, when I stitch it, before I put the white in, it looks the same. The white is not really making it look a lot different, which makes me think that white bunnies are not going to work on this. Which is okay, because I like chocolate bunnies. You know, if I'm changing all those colors, why not change the others, right? Okay, so I worked some more on the needles are in a weird spot because I was doing it for a few minutes yesterday, so. On my scarf, and I finished half of the color work. Color work?
Lace
You
work.
got me
Sorry.
of the lace work, and I'm starting in on this. It repeats, so I'm starting in on that repeat, and I just didn't want to do it. So I didn't want to do anything. So I put it down. I worked a teeny tiny bit on the Itty Bitty Kitty Committee quilt. It looks exactly the same, so it's just another strip. So I didn't bring that over here. Well, it's over there, but you know. And then my cross stitch camp piece is Erica Michaels Burberry. Oh, did I say that the rabbits, carrots, and eggs is Stitchy Princess? I didn't. It's Stitchy Princess. And the shawl is by Casapinka. So I'm doing this one. I wanted to do that one, but I'm doing this one.
Oh, you changed your mind.
Well, my fabric changed it for me. Because if I did it on this fabric 2/2, it would have been 12 inches wide when it finished. So when it made the berry, it would have been pretty darn big. And I was just like, at first I told myself, I don't care if the berry's a little bit bigger. And then as I kept working on it, I was like, this is going to be too big. So I took it all out and I started on this. This one's not to say I'm not going to do that one.
Right.
But I'm certainly not going to be trying to do white on white here. It's not white. This is 32 count Belfast linen in the color Blue Ice, and I have not gotten very far because, as I was saying, I'm struggling to see it, and the white barely shows up on it does once I make the X, but when I'm stitching it, it barely shows up. So I'm doing a lot of stitching it and then taking it out and stitching it and taking it out to get it correct. I am down where I don't have to count to the little birdie. So after I do the bird, I'm going to do the hat and then, you know, go down and do things that have color. But the snowman should be easier because it's basically just filling it in, you know. So that should be just a little bit easier for me. But I strongly suspect I will not finish this before the end of the month. And, you know, it's just the way life is, you know. You try and you try, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Because I don't want to concentrate on just that, because I'm also doing WIP-GO and, you know, other things. So if I finish it, I do. If I don't, I don't. Okay, so lastly, my temperature SAL. It has been what other people would call beautifully warm outside. It's very crisp in the morning. Need a jacket, turn the heat up on the in the car, but by midday, you know, it's
need
beautiful.
the air conditioner.
Huh?
Sometimes you need the air conditioner.
Well, if you're in the car, yeah. You know, because I know that in certain parts of the country, the sun is not as intense as it is here. The sun, when it comes out with no clouds, and we had a lot of days with no clouds at all, completely and utterly bare skies and beautiful skies. But so when the sun starts coming in the car, it quickly bakes you. Anyway, so you can tell that our temperatures have been pretty moderate, and pretty much close to the same temperature. I was like, am I going to have the whole line of the same color? Pretty much.
I heard it's gonna get really cold on Wednesday.
I heard that last week that it was going to rain, and it never did.
We'll see.
Yeah, but it's been
get
kind of
really
a weird winter for everybody, I think. People living in Maine and all those northern things going, where's our snow?
Yeah, but
It got cold.
Crazy cold.
It got crazy cold, but very, very, very little snow. So that's all I've done. Not very much.
Yeah.
It's what I could do.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I was the one pill I'm still taking. I read the thing, may cause drowsiness. Be careful when operating a vehicle. May cause blurry vision, dizziness, and something else like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one I need to keep taking. But I took it this morning. I was wide awake. The dog woke me up. I tried to go back to sleep, couldn't. I was wide awake. And I took that pill, and within 5 minutes, I was like, So that might have something to do with it. I don't know. You said you had a story about Simon Med?
I have one to latch onto your Simon Med story.
Well, okay.
Current one?
So, this is a story of why I'm never going back to Simon Med.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes we can't help it.
No, I know. But, so, my back's been bothering me, and it is very strange because it hurts it wakes me up and it hurts in the morning after I've been sleeping all night. Once I'm up and about, I'm pretty much fine. It's in between my shoulder blades. Anyway, so I was really bad, and I was able to work from home because of the Super Bowl taking over downtown. It's not being played downtown, but all the events are downtown. It's been crazy there.
Did you hear about that theft from there?
The what? Theft? Yeah, I know. Somebody stole a bunch of fan
Huge
stuff.
theft.
And there was also the guy climbing the Chase Tower.
And there was a streaker
and
at
the streaker at the golf.
Phoenix is
It's a
showing
funny
up.
place.
Phoenix is showing up.
Well, we don't know those people were from Phoenix.
But
It's on the news, though.
yeah. So, but anyway, so they let us work from home, and it was fortunate because I woke up on Tuesday morning and I could not move. I was in tears, and I'm like, I can't ignore this anymore. I need to call a doctor, and I was able to get in. And of course, they sent you for X-rays, right? So I couldn't go Wednesday, but Thursday I decided I'm going to go at 7 in the morning. I'm going to show up to stupid Simon Med when I wake up, right away. And that way I won't be there forever. And I can still
Because you
work.
can't make an appointment for x-rays.
Yeah. So I went and I walk in. It's about 7:15 or so. I walk in and she goes, do you have an appointment? And I said, no. As I'm walking across the lobby, very rude. Do you have an appointment? No. Is it for x-ray? Yes. We don't do those until 8:30.
Oh, brother.
I've never read that.
Yeah. And and I was like,
Which Simon Med did you go to?
the one right here. And I was like, because I'm thinking, I have to be clocked in at 8:30. Which is why I do at 7. And I'm like, and so I just stood there for a minute. She goes, and that'll be at all the locations. And I was like, fine. And I walked out. So I go and sit in my car, seething angry, and I'm like searching, and I couldn't remember the one over in Tempe. It used to be EVDI, but EVDI is no longer. It's a banner now. And I used to love that location of EVDI. And so I was like, I'm going to go there. And it's all the same people. It's basically just banner bought it. So I walk in. Well, first, the Google says it didn't open until 8. But I thought, well, if I get there and I'm right at 8, I should be able to go. Wouldn't be too long a wait. And when I get there, there's already a car parked in the patient, like, little spots reserved. And I was like, So I just walked up. I'm like, if it's closed, I'll come back to my car. But no, it was open. I signed in. I didn't even have time to take out my knitting. I think I sent an email and they called me. I went up and met with them, and then she's like, okay, we'll call you back. And I was telling her, like, about your problems, like how, and she's like, no, that would be a whole protocol, like an x-ray, an MRI, an x-ray. They wouldn't make you go back into the x-ray queue, and she's like, that's crazy. I'm like, I know. So I'm like, I'm never going back there. So I went and sat down. I think I sent another email, and they called me. And boom, I'm done. And I'm like,
You mean not the 4 hours waiting for an x-ray that I had?
No, it's awful. And I don't understand them.
Well,
So I was so mad. So angry.
Well, when you sent that text saying how much you hated Simon Med, then, like, so I was in the bathroom, I was in the bathroom when you sent that text. And so just minutes later, I was washing my hands and my phone rang. And I get a lot of spam calls, so I look at it to see where the area code is, and if it's from Arkansas, where I used to live, I know it's spam. And then some random area codes I don't know. But I look, so my hands were wet. So I very quickly was like, trying to dry my hands and fish my phone out of my pocket. And so I put it down on the counter so I could, dry my hands properly. And because I looked, and it was a 602 area code. So that's, from here. So I thought it's, something important or whatever. So I tried to answer it, but it went to text or whatever. So I, dried my hands and looked at it, and it was, and I was just saying that it was, very bizarre, because as soon as by the time I answered the phone, it had gone to voicemail or whatever. And so I, wanted to see if it was, something important. And it was Simon Med telling me that, it's time for your, I guess my, what do you call it? Mammogram.
Oh.
Yeah, it's coming up next month or something. So they were leaving me a message. It's like Simon Med. I thought, that's just too poetic.
Oh, I can't stand them.
If you have an appointment for something that's not an x-ray, they're not bad. But I don't understand the no appointments for x-rays. I can see them taking somebody on an emergency basis and squeezing them in.
I don't think anybody does appointments. It's like EVDI didn't, or Banner didn't. But also, like, I just don't think they have staff. I don't think they have proper staffing, I guess. I don't know.
Well, like when I melted Beth, I said, how long for x-rays today?
Yeah.
And she said, about half an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And
No, it's always been bad, no matter what's being done. I've never enjoyed going to them. Because the nurse was like, most people go to Simon Med, and I went, oh, it's awful. It's awful.
I have left very bad reviews for Simon Med.
Oh, but speaking of good experiences, the other day I had an appointment with the dentist.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought I was getting a teeth cleaned, but I guess they're doing it in 2 phases, because yesterday they did a whole bunch of x-rays. And because I haven't had my teeth cleaned at the dentist here in Phoenix. But so they did a whole bunch of x-rays, and the doctor did come in to do an assessment, I guess, to see what kind of cleaning I needed. Anyway, so he was doing all this. Oh, and I also had they were asking me if I had any pain or whatever, and I've had an issue with the doctor did a crown for me a couple of years ago. This just right before we went to this cabin, and so I had to get it fixed before we went out of town, and so he had done this crown, and then but off and on I'd had weird pain in my jaw, and I have been chewing these gummy vitamins, and I would get this kind of a pain and I was afraid I was getting a cavity or something. So I had mentioned that, and so they were looking at it, and he decided that he determined that the crown was a little high, and so he was filing it down. So I spent a few minutes in there. So anyway, that was all done, and so I was looking to make an appointment to get my teeth cleaned, actually. And so at the end of the appointment, he said, "Do you like Girl Scout cookies?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I've got a whole bunch of Thin Mints in the back." And so he just brought me a box of Thin Mints. And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh my gosh.
They're already gone.
Here, this is bad for your teeth. I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah,
get more work.
But it reminded me of when we were kids, we would go to the doctor, and the doctor would give us at the end of the appointment a balloon that said, "From your doctor for being good."
Yeah.
That same doctor, one time they were all getting the flu shot, he had me give him his flu shot. I was much older, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, just stick it in right there."
Oh my gosh. So funny.
Oh, yeah. But
Okay, I'm looking up my Arna and Carlos patterns. I can't look it up on my iPad because I never have hooked my iPad into your Wi-Fi. I'm trying to find them.
Oops.
will your iPad read a barcode?
Yeah, but it's not necessary to do it right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I just want to find some pictures here.
You were supposed to find them while Beth was talking.
I know, but I was knitting while Beth was talking, and I'm so sleepy. I'm so sleepy right now.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm hooked. Since she's still scrolling, I've been looking at random things on Netflix or YouTube or whatever, because we're doing a concert that's coming up shortly, and I think all the music that's on it, the Haydn London Symphony and the Shostakovich, the last movement of the Fifth Symphony, and Nessun Dorma. And so I was just watching them on YouTube, watching other performances of them. So I've got all that music rattling around my head now. But then also, so while I was, scrolling through there, there were YouTube videos from, I think from England's, the London's, the Proms concerts. And so there was one that was, I'm assuming it was some kind of university orchestra or something, but there was a whole bunch of people. So I don't know if it was a couple of combined groups or whatever, because there were 8 horns and 7 or 8 bassoons and a whole bunch of people. So it was this sort of cast of thousands orchestra. Ordinarily there's 2 of each woodwind and maybe 4 horns and like that. So it looked like it was combined groups, but they were very, very, very good. But they played Gustav Holst's The Planets, and I realized there's only a couple of those that I like. There's I guess not 8 or 9.
Mars, Jupiter.
I like Jupiter.
I like Mars, but what other ones?
you know, they're all, there's a whole bunch, but they're just like
Venus is all. I don't. Maybe Neptune.
yeah.
Maybe Neptune?
Neptune is the mystic. I was looking at the thing, but anyway,
So he wrote one for every planet, and poor thing, he wrote one for Pluto, or did he not?
He
write
did
one?
not
No,
write one
'cause
for
Pluto
Pluto.
wasn't discovered.
But
yet.
but this performance, somebody modern, I guess, Colin somebody or other, had written one for Pluto.
But then Pluto was declared not a planet.
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry.
but yeah,
I learned it was a planet, so for me it's a planet.
Yeah. But
Poor Pluto. Can you imagine being downgraded like that? You thought
had a
you were
dog named
legit,
Pluto.
and then you're not legit.
We had a dog named Pluto that my brother named Pluto because when we were taking her home, she was very little and she was kind of shivering in his arms, and so he named her Pluto because Pluto was the coldest planet because it was furthest from the sun.
Oh my god.
That was my brother's logic. He's also the one who started calling me Fantagray when I was little, and he's also the one who made up the spelling that I use now for it, which is Phantagrae.
I remember him saying, okay, so here's one pattern I got. It's, I'll put a closer picture here. It's a hat called Reine. It's like a color work with pearl stitches to make that kind of ribbing look. And I got home mittens.
Are you going to make those in the right size?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Hopefully.
This is mittens I'm going to make for my aunt, but I have the yarn she gave me is like pastels colors, but I'll do pastel and maybe a white or something. So I found a pattern that was part of my WIP-GO challenge for that pattern. This is called Arne's Cozy Brioche Sweater. It's I'll have to put a screenshot of this one, but it's a brioche sweater. It's oversized and looks very neat and warm. I really like it. It's just a big square sweater, but it's brioche, which is it's kind of like a modified rib to it. It's really cool.
You know, I used to have a gray sweater that was big and it was really big and chunky, but I loved it because it was. I think I wore it basically at home, but it was nice and warm and it was thick and it was too big and thick to wear in public because it was just bulky.
And this is the other hat I got. This is another, just two colors. It's called.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's called, I don't know how to say it, Sveinung hat with XO pattern.
Sveinung?
Well, it's not German, so
I know.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. And then a spiral sock pattern, which I probably don't need because I probably have one, but it doesn't have a heel, which makes it appealing. It's just a spiral sock, no heel. The spiral is like a large rib that keeps it close to you, maybe close to your foot. And then I got their easiest sock in the world. Where did that go? Here it is. This is called the easiest sock in the world. It looks like color work, but it's the yarn doing the work in that particular sock. It's like a self-striping yarn. And then you do what's called an afterthought heel, where at one point in the pattern, you're just knitting a tube. And at one point in the pattern, you put in, you have a scrap yarn. And then you take that scrap yarn out and you knit the heel into that spot. So that's why they say it's the easiest thing. So I got those patterns. They were all on sale, 60% off. So each of them was like $2.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I was like, heck yeah, I'm all over that. But the sale ended last night. So, but I was like, I'm going to jump on that. But so that was my story about my haul. I don't think I was trying to think if I had any crazy stories this week besides my crazy back. But I've been working so much.
I haven't been anywhere, so.
It's been...
One thing I wanted to mention was that Needlework Market I don't know exactly what the dates of it, but I was watching the floss tube of, I think it was C Zook, her floss tube, but she does a special thing for market. She uses the website for Ron, which is Gary and Ron, I think are the two guys, but they have a website, Garon, Garon, that puts all the market releases on there in alphabetical order. So, if you have a particular designer that you want to look at what their market releases are, you can, look it up by, alphabetically. But she does a video where she starts at A and goes through Z, basically. So it's kind of a long video, but it just showcases, this is what this person is releasing, this and this and this or whatever. So if you want to look at all of them, they're all in one spot there, and it's very easy to negotiate because it is alphabetical. I've seen a few other videos that, that have them, and some of the websites, have the new releases listed, but they come out sort of piecemeal because the different designers, release them at different points before market or whatever. But the nice thing about the Garon website is that they're all in alphabetical order. So if you're interested in market releases, and if you've been waiting for market, and I spent a lot of money at the Jingle Bell releases, and but I'm interested in looking at the releases for market. Right now, I don't know that there's anything that I'm that I've seen. I've seen a few snippets, and I don't think there's anything of it I'm dying to see. But I haven't looked at all of them yet, so
What was I going to say? I don't think the knit world has anything similar to that. I was just trying to think. Well, but there's a couple of things that happen significantly. Like one is the Rhinebeck yarn fiber festival, whatever it's called, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
What people upstate New York. What people do is they knit a Rhinebeck sweater. So you plan that you're gonna make a new sweater, and that's the sweater you wear to show off at Rhinebeck. And but sometimes Rhinebeck is hot, and sometimes it's cold, and I can't remember what time of year it happens. I think it happens I want to say it's in the fall, but it's not always cold, fall weather yet. So I've always kind of been interested in going. People do like knit-alongs, or they make a big deal out of choosing their one sweater pattern that they're going to make to go to Rhinebeck. So that's one thing. And then I was looking at my Instagram, and there's this person I follow. I don't even know who it is. I think she's a knitter or something. But all of a sudden she posts this like a poster and a magnet or a sticker or something she got that said Boston, BAA, Boston, but with the BAA like a sheep.
Uh-huh.
And I guess Boston had some fiber festival, sheep and wool festival, just now, like the end of January, beginning of February. I mean, like right before that happened, it was like super icy. That whole horrible cold snap, which would have not been fun. But I was like, I'm gonna go to that. I didn't know about that, so now I have to look out for it. I got on their mailing list because I'm like, I want to go. I guess Flagstaff has one, and I've never been.
Yeah.
But people, all the independent dyers have their yarns out, and you can buy wool, you can buy a whole fleece, all that kind of stuff.
It reminds me of that. There's a show that I like. It's there's a British detective show basically called Vera, and in the last episode, I guess, that they're airing, she was driving from her home. This is in the north of England, so she's driving from her home to a crime scene or whatever, and this herd of sheep runs across the road, and so she has to wait for all these woolly sheep to run across. Yeah. And then when she's going to the crime scene, it's like in downtown Northumberland or whatever, and there's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of people running across the street, and she goes, "You're worse than a sheep."
But I'm like, I want to. I've never been to a fiber festival, so I would like to do that. The other thing that's happening, like in the next 2 or 3 days, is Arne and Carlos's. They have a knitting cruise that goes up the coast of Norway. Oh, it's my dream. I've already said that, but okay. I have to comment on someone's comment on my Facebook. I was kind of mad. This person was like, I posted about the hat the other day, saying I'm really happy and I like I really like this Norwegian wool, and my guys, Arne and Carlos. And she's very well traveled, very wealthy, and that's fine, good for her. But she goes, I'm heading to Norway in May, but I see that you can get the yarn here? ? Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. I was like, what is that supposed to mean? And I debated, and Mark's like, don't do it. But I commented back, well, for those of us less fortunate, thankfully we can order it online. And this is actually, it is Norwegian wool, but it's made in England. If like I don't know, what are you saying? What are you are you bragging? Are you trying to make me feel bad? What is the purpose of you having to say that? I'm going to Norway, but you can get the yarn here?
So does it matter whether or not you buy your yarn here or online?
No, I mean, you mean going to Norway to buy. And I'm like, it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to Norway. Do you want me to pick some up for you? That's what I thought. Like, you know what I mean? Or like, I'm going to Norway. What should I know about that? Or I don't know anything about yarn, but I'm going to Norway. And that would be, but the way she was like, but I see you can get it here? I'm like, you can get anything from almost anywhere, anytime. It's called boop, 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 boop. Like,
when you were talking,
I just couldn't understand. And I guess maybe she hit a nerve because I was like, yeah, I wish I was going to Norway to go see Arne and Carlos. Like, that's my dream. So shut up.
When you were talking about
I'm sorry. I know I'm not. That's not very nice of me. But I'm just like, I don't know why you would say something like that.
When you were talking about all those Norwegian names for all the things, it reminded me of when I used to. I haven't read it in a long time, but for a while I was really into this Norwegian author.
Yeah.
And so I had read so many of his books, I felt like I could almost speak Norwegian because I know all those sort of place names.
It's so funny because Carlos is from Sweden. I mean, his parents are Swedish and also, I want to say Portuguese or something. I can't remember where his mother's line is from, but he grew up in Sweden and also has lived in Norway for a long time. He just got his Norwegian citizenship. Arne is from Norway, from a certain area, a very historic family, like been there forever. And so Carlos can speak very good English and Swedish and I think Spanish and of course, did I say Norwegian? Yeah. So he can speak he speaks multiple language. So he's usually, and Arne can speak English and he's very good, but there's some words he just doesn't know, and sometimes they have to check with each other. What's that called? And they'll say it. And then for a while, like during the pandemic, when they were doing those videos, they would have a Norwegian word of the day or whatever. And but this past week it was vet because Arne couldn't say vet with a V. He would say wet. And the Carlos is saying, no, it's vet. Like, wet is what you do when you take a shower. It was just so funny because he couldn't say vet, and so he just wound up saying the name for the vet in Norwegian, which I can't remember. But that became the Norwegian word of the day. Well, but they're adorable. I love
it's
them.
like in the first Star Trek movie, new Star Trek movie, the ones with
oh yeah, where Chekhov's like Victor,
and the reader doesn't recognize him.
Yeah. Like, come on. At Star Trek, it would recognize his accent. But anyway, but it could interpret some alien that doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
That's a flaw. That's trying to be a joke there, but
But it was funny.
no, it was funny. It was funny. What was I going to say? Yeah, but Arne and Carlos was talking about, we hope to see at least 2 aurora borealises on the trip, and I'm like,
So
go.
I've been watching for a long time. I've been watching a lot of TV while I stitch, and I usually watch streaming channels. And for a while, I was watching movies, and then I was watching YouTube channels, and I still watch FlossTube and stuff. But I pick a series that just go through the series. And most recently, I've been watching the CSI series. And half the time I'm like, CSI people don't go talk to suspects.
Yeah.
Nor do they actually do autopsies in the dark.
Yeah.
I saw an episode that wanted, I think it was CSI, it was one of those shows, that wants it to have that dark, like...
Well, and they go to a crime scene.
They were in a hospital, autopsy room, and it's like barely any lighting, and it's all dark in the background, and they're talking about
That's
this
the one
victim.
thing that really gets
And
me.
I'm like, it would be horrible, bright, fluorescent lights, and it would be an ugly room. Like, stop it.
Well, one of the things that really gets me is that these guys are the night crew. Okay, so they go to a scene in a house using their flashlights to find stuff.
It was like, turn the freaking lights on. There was a guy who was the TV critic in Little Rock in the newspaper in Little Rock, and he had a complaint about all these shows that were dark like that, and his theory was that they don't want to show the cheap sets. And all this. And I'm like, no, it's because of the X-Files. Because the X-Files, part of their look on the show was that, that there were oftentimes scenes in the dark. And when we were talking about the show and the website, that we joked about big ass flashlights, medium ass flashlights, and little ass flashlights. Because in some scenes they had these huge flashlights that had like a big battery pack and a huge light like this. And so they would, use those a lot of times. And then, so a lot of times they would have just ordinary regular flashlights. And sometimes, when they were sort of unexpectedly, in a dark place, whatever, like they would have little tiny flashlights. That they had in the pocket or whatever, and so that was an ongoing joke. But one of the things that I remember reading about the X-Files, they were talking about how they would film with as little light as possible a lot of times, and what they would do sometimes is like put aluminum foil up on the wall, and so as they were doing whatever, they would kind of aim their flashlight or something sort of at that spot where the foil was, and so it would bounce the light back into the
cinematography.
room.
The cinematography isn't what bothers me. It's things like CSIs. Yes, they have to go and get the clues wherever the person died and all that stuff, right? But they're not chasing suspects. They're not questioning them in the police thing. They may go and get trace and all that from them, but they're not there solving the puzzle.
Yeah.
The police officers are solving the puzzle, and in a way, I mean, they're supporting them with giving them all the clues, but
they're not arresting suspects.
In a way, it's diminishing the role of the police officers. They always have the token police officer.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's usually an idiot.
But,
right?
but I'm like, forensics is interesting all in itself, and I realize that they have to build a show about forensics, and it's, not something that's really exciting, because people are looking into microscopes and, stuff like that. But sometimes I'm like, what?
Well, that's like when you watch, one of my favorite shows is The Rookie. I love that show. But if you watch The Rookie for too long, you think there really are only 5 police officers in all of LA. And they solve all the crime, and they chase all the bad guys. There's like 5 people and 2 detectives.
Oh, and another trope that really, really gets me is the uncatchable foe.
Oh, I hate that.
That carries on a whole season, that just, he has unlimited money because he can go everywhere.
Right.
He's incredibly smart because he
outsmarts everybody.
He keeps doing all these crimes and teasing people about it. Mm-hmm. And and on and on and on, and I'm like,
and he knows all about their personal life. And
no. The worst one is the I call it, in my mind, I call it the Guinan of any show. Mm-hmm. So in Star Trek, there was a character named Guinan, right? And she was so wise, and she always had some magical thing to say to Captain Picard to make him see the light. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of characters like that. It's like in The Rookie, of like somebody who just has this insight all the time. They just walk on. They're just this natural, and they're like, they can tell. Oh, well, this is why they're doing that. And like, you know what? You're right. Oh my gosh.
That's Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
And
well, you see it in a lot of films, but like I said, this uncatchable foe.
Yeah.
I realize that America has America's Most Wanted, and there's all that kind of stuff, and these guys are hiding, but they're not over there teasing the police constantly, going out and committing crimes right around them with their family, with this and that, because they would get caught.
What I always hate is the guy, the serial killer who has like some grand plan, like in the movie Seven, which is it's a good movie, but it's horrible too. But so this guy has the 7 deadly sins, and so he kills this person because of this sin, and that person because of, corresponding to that sin, and he kills them in very elaborate ways or whatever. And it's like, really, you have time to do all that stuff, and nobody catches you, and nobody
But I mean, it's even like, but there's the one guy.
But they have,
the one guy who can figure it out.
But
Alex
he has
Cross
like,
or whatever.
But he has like, this great plan. And I'm like, most serial killers have like a certain type that they go after or whatever. But that's about it. Yeah. They don't have some grand scheme and some.
On the other hand, I am not a screenwriter. I do not make money like that, and there are people that are making good money.
Yeah, because everybody likes it.
Writing these, sometimes, the plot, you're like, okay, my suspension of disbelief is broken right here.
One thing that I watched just the other day was the Breaking Bad movie El Camino. Mm. And what it did was for those of you who watched Breaking Bad, at the end of Breaking Bad, Jesse Pinkman runs off, and you don't know what became of him. And so El Camino addresses.
I've seen that.
Addresses. I had never watched it. I knew about it, but I had never watched it. So El Camino addresses, what Jesse Pinkman did afterward, and has some flashbacks. It's great, but it just made me appreciate Vince Gilligan, the guy who created Breaking Bad. He didn't write all the episodes, of course, because they had a writing team, but he wrote several of them, and he did write and direct El Camino, but he used to be a writer on the X-Files, and he was probably the best writer that they had on that show. But he has great like story ideas and great writing skills. He can write really, really funny stuff and really, really emotional stuff, and just he just has it all going on.
Breaking Bad from beginning to end. I loved it.
And and I rewatched like the last maybe 3 or 4 episodes, because I had seen, the whole series. I had watched a lot of it except for like some parts in the middle, because it followed that scheme that a lot of shows do nowadays, where they would show like out of how many episodes of the series of the season, they would show like 4 or 5 of them at the beginning of the season, and then there'd be like months of waiting, and then there was some more, and then the season finale. So in that middle time, I would kind of like lose track or forget or get interested in something else, and then they would say, oh, it's coming back, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch that, and then like I wouldn't. And so in the middle of it there, I kind of got very spotty. And so I watched El Camino, because I thought, oh, I've never seen that. I want to watch that. And then I saw it, but then, it made reference to certain things in the episode. And I thought, well, you know what? I never saw that. And so I went back and watched the last several episodes. But I just thought, it's such a good, it's a good series. And Vince Gilligan is a great writer.
And also, when you see a new movie come out, and and it's like whatever the title is 4, whatever the title is 5, it's like, come up with a new idea.
Yeah.
Because
except for Star Trek,
because I understand. Like but the Star Trek 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not the same story over and over again.
Right.
It's the same characters.
Yeah.
But the story is different. And while people will say Rocky 1 and Rocky 2 and Rocky 3 are all different, they are not. First Blood is almost exactly like Rocky. They're just not beating each other up. He's using a knife. I just, there are certain movies that I love, and then they want to come up with another movie, and they call it the same thing, but it's actually the same movie. I mean, they call it something different, and it's actually the same movie. And you're like, could you write it?
Well, that one sold, so let's have it.
Yeah, let's make more of that, but even better, even more of that.
No, not even better, just another one.
Yeah, like that's why I had a problem with the Matrix movies. I saw the first Matrix movie, and I thought, okay, that's kind of fun. It's what it is, and so the second Matrix movie came out, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go see that. And I was watching it and going, it's more of the same stuff, only bigger, and more bullets and more what's his face that was the bad guy, whatever. It's just like more and more and more. And so it was the same basic premise, but just like I said, more bullets and more fighting and more this and that and the other. And I'm like, this is really stupid. And so when the third movie came out,
they're treating us like 5-year-olds.
Yeah. And so when the third movie came out, it's like, I'm not even going to see that, because it's just going to be, it's just boring. And
they're treating us like 5-year-olds, like when they make they make Mulan or whatever, and then they make all those little Mulans so they can sell a DVD to your 5-year-old, and you can just keep popping it in the machine for them. Yeah. I'm like, no. But that's why it's better to watch football. It's a new story I don't know. For a while we'd not. I love football, and for a while we stopped watching. And then Hannah, when she was home for Christmas, she was like, "I want to watch football," out of the blue. Like, she's been pretty snobby about it her whole life, and all of a sudden she wanted to watch. Not her whole life. That's not true. She used to really like the Cardinals, and when she was young. But you grow out of it, and you're too cool for school and everything. But then over Christmas, she was like, "I want to watch football," and I think so. There's a lot of famous violinists who say that they would practice while watching baseball. Like with the sound off, they would watch baseball and practice, doing whatever. And so I think she kind of started taking that a little bit of but she wanted to watch football over Christmas, and we all really got into it, and so we really cared about who was in the playoffs, and I really wanted the Bengals to beat Kansas City. Don't tell our pastor. So I would have been very excited if the Bengals had gone. I just like them. I like the way They play the game, but so, but anyway, I'm excited for the Super Bowl. I'm not doing anything.
Well,
but
it's
I'm
not
gonna
like
watch it.
we live here in town. It's not like we're going.
Well, no.
I saw a news thing
I'm not
about.
excited about what they've done to downtown because of the Super Bowl.
I saw a news thing where
Insane.
this couple had, I guess, had rescued a guy in Buffalo, I guess, from the cold snap they had there, and so they had saved this guy and rescued him out of the cold or whatever, and so he recently rewarded them with Super Bowl tickets.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
not only did Phoenix decide to have the Super Bowl, they also decided to have it at the same. Well, I mean, they had the. I don't know who decides these things, but the Super Bowl is happening, and also the Open, the golf.
Yeah, the golf thing.
Open, which is always here and is always a big deal, but it's happening at the same time. So all of Scottsdale is clogged. All of Phoenix is clogged. And I'm sure Glendale's
I
clogged.
can tell you, I'm very happy I don't drive Uber right now.
Yeah. Well, you'd be making a pretty penny.
Oh, I wouldn't. I'd be sitting in traffic. You didn't get paid for sitting in traffic.
Yeah,
you got paid
but-
a tiny bit. But,
but-
no, you
no,
didn't
but-
get paid for sitting in traffic.
I don't know. Eli took an Uber home from work on Wednesday. They're supposed to be usually a $20 ride. It was $50.
Well, it depends on how much volume it is, not how
Yeah.
much traffic.
No, I know, but I'm just telling
'Cause
you the volume is
hated,
high.
I hated when I picked up a ride in Scottsdale and had to go to Glendale
Yeah,
or somewhere over there because you just sat in a parking lot on the 101.
yeah.
And I said, can we get off and go on city streets? No, that'll take longer. I'm like, really, it won't.
Yeah, but it's insane. I got out of work Friday. We rode the rapid bus. Monday we missed it, so I had to drive in, and they were like, "You can't park here." I'm like, "Yes, I can. I have a thing," and then they said we could park here still, and they're like, "Well, if it scans, you can go in." So I'm like, "It's gonna scan." So it scanned, and we went in. But I told Eli we have to ride the bus on Friday. So on Friday we rode the bus in, and it was pleasant. I thought it would be stuffed full of people, but I guess everybody had the same idea. They're working from home. But I couldn't work from home on Friday, and neither could Eli. So I had to go in. But so we took the bus. But when we got out of work, the sidewalks were clogged full of people. Tons of people all in the hotels down there. And I don't know, I guess maybe they're busing them all up to Glendale tomorrow, but it's crazy. And you know what is it's sad but funny? Across the street from us, they bought this house that these people used to live in, and they completely renovated it, and they turned it into like an Airbnb. Mm-hmm. This was last year sometime, and I thought, oh, I know why they did that. They did that because of the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So all year, we've seen a few people rent it here and there, like very rarely. And then I was like, okay, someone's going to come. And there's nobody there this week.
Well, I
think that was a big bust they wasted all their money on. Because it's a ridiculous amount of money to rent it.
Yeah, I read something about some guy who had a whole bunch of Airbnb things, and they're they're like, I don't know, some high percentage empty because,
yeah,
he was surprised that people didn't rent it for the Super Bowl, and was like,
well, it's always a gamble, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's paying off for some people. I saw the hotel by me down here in Chandler. We saw two guys walking by with full eagle regalia, mm-hmm. and I was like, "You are far from home. Why are you in Chandler?" But
because there's no hotel
mm-hmm,
over there.
Mm-hmm.
Between the Open and the Super Bowl,
yeah,
anything north of us,
yeah,
is going to be booked.
That I drove by that little tiny hotel where Mom and Dad used to stay all the time by me, and this parking lot is packed full. Mm-hmm. So I guess they're everywhere, but I can't. I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm gonna stay home tomorrow.
It's warm enough that you can go streaking at the.
Apparently,
Yep.
Apparently, but yeah. So I'm excited for the game. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't have any snacks, but we're gonna just hunker down I'm gonna watch it. Mark will probably sleep to it, and
Fry's has a whole bunch of coupons that are,
football related.
football deals,
Watching.
football deals, and it's
Yeah.
mostly on like snack foods and
Yeah.
Yeah.
liquor and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want any of those football deals. I want real deals. But
Well, it's like I was like for a few minutes. I said, "Well, maybe I want to have a Super Bowl party," but I'm like, no one's gonna want to come to my party because I'm not gonna have any beer or alcohol. I'll just
Yeah.
have food. But then I changed my mind. I said, no, the best Super Bowl party takes place in your pajamas.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do. But well, we've been talking for a while, and I need to go and work on that blanket and sleep. I don't know why I'm so sleepy. But thank you for joining us this week. We hope you have a good weekend, and we hope that your favorite team wins today, in a little while. This day that you are watching, your football team is probably not playing because only two teams came. But I hope that you guys have a great week, and we'll see you back here. Happy Valentine's Day, and we'll see you soon.
bye.
Bye.
The dog knows the door.